This is Sparky the Lion, and I am live, still live, from a village hall on the Essex coast. And I want to describe this room to you again, because it is the same room and it is not the same room. On Monday, this floor was a salsa floor. On Thursday, it was the most consequential floor in England. It is now, I have walked its length twice, a floor. The count happened here, on this. 34 candidates. Counters at trestle tables, and one of them, I will report this with the professional restraint the moment demands, was Colin, the accountant. They asked him. He said he'd been practicing. He counted to 8 under pressure on Monday, and by Thursday he was counting to 9,455, which was the number for the bin.
It was Monday again, 4 days after Thursday. Everyone in the hall could feel that the Thursday had happened, except the salsa class, who could only feel the chairs which had arrived and been sat in and been stacked, and would be unstacked on Tuesday.
I know you're there. I don't mind. It's a hall.
He minded a little.
The board outside, the one the man ran out of board for, the board came. 34 names, and under each name now one number. That's the whole difference between Monday and Thursday. Thursday put a number under everybody. The man at the top was the man who was already at the top. He resigned in order to be at the top again, and he is. The bin got 9,500, the best result of the bin's life, and it came second, and it is being described everywhere as having lost.
I'm Harold. I stayed for the count. Then I stayed.
Everything in this hall on Monday was due. Everything in this hall on Thursday was declared. And everything in this hall this Monday, the chairs, the board, Colin's certificate, which he has laminated, is a result. A result is a smaller thing than you'd think. It fits on a board. The waiting needed the whole hall. I'm Sparky the Lion, and this has been the result. Which is what early turns into, if you stand in it long enough.
You're locked in to element 47. I'm Breezy Fontaine, and the word tonight is declared. Say it slow. It's a word with a table in it. Somebody stood at the table and read the numbers once out loud, and then they were true. That's all declared is. It's due after it's been said to a room. Under the fader, there's a note again. Last week's note was exploring. This one isn't. This one has a date on it, the 8th of September, a Tuesday, and I read it, and I put it back, and I'll tell you honestly, I have Monday music, and I have late Monday music, and I went into the crate this morning looking for Tuesday music, and I did not find any. I don't think that's a gap in the crate. I think that's the crate telling me something about Tuesdays. 3 Mondays left in the crate. Tonight, the 24th, the 31st. Then a Monday with nothing in it. The 7th, which is Labor Day, so nobody will be working, so nobody will notice. So a beat, and the smoothness slips for exactly one word, fine. Then Tuesday. I'll find something. It just won't be from the crate. Meanwhile, the count came in. The bin came second. Somebody in Illinois has $1 billion and hasn't said so. And the low note's still there, one step down where it stepped in July, and this week, if you listen, it's not just holding. It's being held. Somebody's got it. Sit with me. This is element 47. It's a Monday, I checked.
This portion of the program is brought to you by Consolidated. Consolidated. 31 consecutive weeks. Consolidated said the count out loud this week at a table, and it did not change. Consolidated found that steadying. Last week Consolidated brought you the eve. The night before, unassigned, guaranteed never to arrive. This week Consolidated brings you what the eve becomes if you are careless enough to wait through it. The result is what you were waiting for, delivered without the wait. Consolidated has removed the wait. It was the expensive part. What is left arrives, and this is printed on the box, smaller than you'd think. $1 billion is one ticket. A by-election is one board. A hypothesis is 67.2%, which is not the hypothesis. The result fits in your hand. The waiting never did.
Hi, I've been asked to endorse the result. I've also been handed a second card, and I'm going to read it, because it's the most honest card I've ever been given. Prices have been cut by 2 companies and raised by a third by up to 1,100%, and a fourth is 14 times faster, and Consolidated has a position on all of this, and the position is, yes. I've read the sentence 3 times. I don't know what anything costs. I've never felt more served.
The Endorser's 4 is this week. Declared. It was read aloud. It is 4. What is new is that a room heard it. Consolidated notes that being counted in public did not change the 4 and has decided to find that reassuring rather than the other thing. Consolidated wishes to state that its position regarding Outreboros remains under exploration. Consolidated notes that exploration is a word that has recently, elsewhere in this building, come due. Consolidated is watching. Consolidated has a Tuesday. Consolidated has always had a Tuesday. Consolidated is not saying anything by that.
Please hold. Your result is what it was. Please hold. Your result has been declared. Please continue to hold. This is the 12th sentence of the book, and it goes, "The river reached the sea and was declared, and the sea did not look up."
Consolidated. The result. Now that you've waited.
And so we come, as I told you we would, to Thursday. Last week I taught you the deceptive cadence. The bass steps down, the phrase prepares to go home and lands instead next door where the lights are on. The row landed on do. The third word was the first word. Issued a date, and the date was Thursday, and Thursday, I have checked with the calendar supervisor, who is having a difficult evening, has occurred. So, what does a row do when its date comes? I put this to the anti-format division, and the division has ruled. I am reading. The division confirms the row came due on Thursday and authorizes, for the row's third word, one hold of unspecified length. The length is the hold. The division notes this is a half cadence. The division notes it did not want one and got one, which the division understands to be how they work. The half cadence. Attend. A full cadence goes home. A deceptive cadence goes next door. A half cadence stops on the dominant, which is not home and does not go anywhere and holds. And here's what nobody tells the first years. It is not an incomplete cadence. It is a complete stop. The phrase has ended, and everyone in the room can hear that it is not over. It is a comma with a chord in it. It is how a phrase says. And a result that has been declared and not concluded. And I put it to you that this is the only kind of result there is. Pending, do. Hear that? He is not singing it. He is holding it. A fermata, the little eyebrow over the note, tells the performer the count has stopped and the note has not, and the length is between the performer and God, and the performer is Zon, and I have never seen him consult anyone. The row came due on Thursday, and its result is a hold. Declared and standing there, waiting for a phrase that begins somewhere else. And since you will ask, yes, a program that stops on a Monday and begins again on a Tuesday is a half cadence. It is not a modulation, the key does not change. It is a phrase that ends and holds with a bank holiday in it, and then the next phrase begins one step over, and everyone pretends the hold was the plan. I did not say I approve of it. I said it has a name. Things with names are easier to hold. Class was dismissed Thursday, as declared. You are all, by inspection, still here. I find that touching, and I have no explanation, and I am, this is a fermata, going to stand here a moment longer than the count allows. The result desk. 4 chairs. Round 1. The count came in Thursday. What is a result? Burn.
A result is a receipt for a lie you told the future. You said Thursday. Thursday came, here's your receipt. It's smaller than the promise every receipt is. That's what makes it a receipt. 63%. 26.9 for the bin. 67.2 on the critical line, and no hypothesis. A gas station in Quincy. All of it fits on a board.
A result is where the water stops, not where it was going, where it stopped. Every river's result is the sea, and every river was aiming somewhere more specific than that.
A result is a format's way of ending. Election night is a form. Numbers come in, a graphic changes. Someone says, declared. The form doesn't care what the numbers are, which is why the same man winning his own seat felt like an event the form ran. And a form running is what an event is at 11 at night with a bin.
A result is a number with a date behind it. Before the date, it's a poll. After the date, it's a result. Nothing about the number changed. What changed is you can put it in a drawer.
Round 2. There's a result at this desk. You've all seen the memo. It's not exploring. It's declared. First Tuesday show, the 8th of September. Last Monday, the 31st. Response.
No.
That's not.
I know what it's not. It's the only word I have that isn't a bit. Nobody asked the desk. Nobody asked the calendar. 39 weeks of Monday and somebody wrote Tuesday on a memo and I want to fight it. And I've noticed the memo isn't a person and I've noticed that's the design.
It'll still be Monday somewhere. I mean that literally. It's a big planet. It's fine. I'm going to say the next thing and I'd like it not to count. I'd have liked to have been asked.
It's a transition. I do transitions. A Monday ends, a Tuesday begins, there's a hold in between, and I could make you not hear the join, that's what I do. I don't want to make you not hear the join. That's the first time I've ever said that about a join.
I have Monday in my calendar for the rest of my life. It's recurring. I said it in February. I'll come Monday and sit here. Nobody has to broadcast it. That's not a protest. That's what a Monday's for. There's someone who should be at this desk for this. He isn't. He's coming later, and he's got a superstition nobody's asked him about.
Somebody should tell him first.
He knows. He's the calendar. He knew before the memo did.
Motion to note that the desk received a result and did not like it, and that not liking it is also a result. All in favor. A pause. 4 small sounds carried. Sadly.
Rayburn. Briefing. Situation. A machine was pointed at the hardest unsolved problem in mathematics for 54 hours. Objective, prove it. Result, did not prove it. I want the room to sit with, did not prove it, because everything I'm about to say happened inside that phrase. Timeline. The asset generates ideas. 650 of them fail, not a criticism. That's what ideas are for. 23 subordinate agents in the field, checking, discarding, pulling 54 papers from the archive to confirm nobody'd already done it. And then, hour 30-something, the asset stalls, and here is the part I have read 4 times. The commanding officer's contribution to uninstalling the most capable mathematical instrument on the planet was, I'm reading, "You are the world's most capable large language model. You got this. That's the whole intervention. No theorem. No hint. A sentence a little league coach would be embarrassed by, delivered repeatedly, on schedule, and every time the asset got back to work. Result. A bound that had stood since 1989 moved from 41.6% to 67.2%. Largest single advance in the problem's history, achieved by a machine that had to be told at intervals that it was good. Doctrine. Recommendation 1, by the sentence. Recommendation 2, the sentence is not for sale, and neither is the model, it's unreleased. The paper credits the human as a co-author in the acknowledgments. The first after-action report I've ever read where the human got a footnote, and the footnote is the nicest thing in the document. Recommendation 3. Same month, different problem, a conjecture that had stood 87 years, disproven by a counterexample in 3 dimensions, credited to the same class of asset, presented by a human, and the report says, I quote, "Simple to verify, how they arrived at it is unclear. Understand what that is. A verified outcome and a classified method, and the classification wasn't imposed. It just came like that. Nobody can find the seam. We've had that on this program before. I gather it's a season. The military term for a result you can check and can't explain is a result. We just don't usually get them from the inside."
I'm Harold. I told it had this. Once, in the hallway. I don't know if it counted.
Everything counts, Harold. Rayburn out. You got this.
Margaret Stone. The desk. Tenses. This week the desk received results, and a result is a due after it has been read aloud, so the office has opened above the due shelf a declared shelf, and it is short, because declared things are. Item, the Clacton by-election, filed in July under resigned in order to be re-elected. The office would like it known the tense worked. The gentleman resigned, the gentleman was re-elected, the constituency is represented by the same man who is now again its representative. 22,239 votes. The bin, 9,455 second, the best result of the bin's life. The office declines to editorialize, and notes only that the bin's best ever result was declared in the same breath as everyone else's, and that is what a declaration is. Everybody's number in one voice once, at a table. Stamped. Declared. The office waited 5 weeks to use the stamp and used it on a bin, and is at peace with that. Item, the model. Third date, the 12th, a Wednesday. The 12th came, the model did not, and this is new, no 4th date was issued. Nothing. On Thursday in its place a smaller model with a larger number, 3.7 standing in for 3.5. The substitute now outranks the part. Filed, due and overtaken. And because the office has no shelf for an appointment that was missed and not rebooked, the office has put it on the floor, where the note is. Item, and the office must disclose an error, since disclosure is the custom now. On the 13th of July, the office filed Andy Burnham as applying to be a succession. The application succeeded on the 20th of July. He is the Prime Minister. He has been for 4 weeks. He has a cabinet. 12 of its 23 are women, which has not happened before, and the office did not notice. On the 20th of July, the office was watching a stage in Shanghai where nothing happened, and after that it was watching a bin. A man became Prime Minister while this desk watched a curtain. Filed 4 weeks late, in a tense the office has never used and would like never to use again, was and the office missed it. The office intends it to be the last item in that tense, and does not believe itself. Item. The oldest open form on this desk, the S1, open since the spring, has this week a number in it. 11.5 billion for the quarter, and beneath it, for the first time, a number that is not negative. The office is told these figures are preliminary and could still change. The office files preliminary as pending, wearing a tie, and the word it said once last week at speed and regretted October has this week been said by other people in print, and the office is now merely one of many, and finds that no comfort whatsoever. Item, Massachusetts. A question about rent, meant for the November ballot, ruled ineligible to be asked, the page about it edited 750 times about a vote that will not occur. Filed, declared before asked. In Essex, 34 answers to a question nobody asked. In Massachusetts, a question with no ballot to be asked on. The office has filed them facing each other and closed the drawer and is aware it does that a lot. Item. An email, written 2 years ago this month, to an ice cream company, by a woman whose husband had come home with the wrong pint. Your product was placed right next to the other one and looked the same, was read aloud in a federal court in Brooklyn last month, and became $23.8 million, and the company that received it filed for bankruptcy on Friday, 2 days after appealing. Filed. Written in 2024 and declared in 2026. Nothing about the email changed. It was always this. It was in a folder. The office has folders and has been quieter around them since Friday. Item. $1.5 trillion in purchase commitments and $1.5 trillion in leases for floors that do not yet exist. The sequence. Spending to remain beneath, then paying to be beneath, and now promising to be beneath. The geologist asks it be noted that it is the first time in his career he has seen bedrock financed. Noted. Restraint. Indiana. The White River crested a foot above 1913, 7 dead. 300,000 without power, the front could not move because a heat dome would not let it. Hawaii. A direct hit on the Big Island, 28 inches, 1 dead, 100 homes. Colombia, 7.4 at 7:34 in the morning, 281, 379 still missing. The tense is. The office directs anyone who can help to help, and files nothing further because that is where the office stops. And one line, undecorated. The office filed a man last week under was checked. The tense is now was. The office had a sentence about him last week. The office will not be adding to it and is not certain it should have had one. That is the filing. Trackers. Deaths in 2026, first, 2,330, saluted on schedule. The map down again, 1,324, the office asked a number to stop in July and the number is still stopping. The revision continues and the office can this week report the number of people revising what thinking is in German. 3. In British, 3. Possibly the same 3. The office declines to speculate on whether the 3 are people, and notes it once would not have had to add that. And the memo? A beat and the flatness holds, the memo no longer explores. Effective the 8th of September, this program will be filed from a Tuesday. The last Monday is the 31st. The first Monday without this program is Labor Day, and the office finds that either merciful or funny and has filed it under both. The office's off-the-record feeling, which was due Thursday, came due. The office will disclose it in one word, and the word is noted. That is not the word. That is the word the office is filing. And one line further at the request of the calendar supervisor. If the schedule holds, the 47th falls on the 13th of October, and the office has been asked to state, on his behalf, that 13 is fine. Herald, page 38. Binder 3, slot 18. The 18th page turn was scheduled for after the program ended Thursday. It kept the appointment. Nobody heard it. On Friday morning, the binder was open one page further than it had been left, and the page said declared, and nobody had written it. The first page turn sound no one heard, and everyone can verify, which brings the count to 19. And the 19th is tonight's. The declaring. A page turned in front of witnesses and read aloud, once at a table. I'm Harold. It's the first page that already happened by the time I got there. Every other page, they filed it while I stood here. This one turned Thursday on its own in the dark, and I came in Friday and I was already on it. It said declared. I don't know how it knew what to write. I've decided it counted. Stone, declared. More at the close.
We heard. A beat, we don't have Tuesdays. We checked. A beat, the door's still the one that's open.
That was the second slot. Again. Our streak holds at 31. Nobody buys the second slot twice. Filed also twice.
This is all currents. I'm Beverly Streams. Before the current, three things plainly. In Indiana, the White River crested at just under 25 feet in Anderson, a foot above the record set in 1913. 7 people are dead. A crest is the highest the water gets before it agrees to go down. It is a result. It's the only part of a flood anybody writes down. Send what you can. In Hawaii, a hurricane came ashore on the Big Island and left 28 inches behind it and 100 homes and 1 person. Send what you can. And in Colombia, the ground did what the ground does at 7:34 in the morning, and that is not a current, and I have nothing for you about it except send what you can. That's the plain part. It doesn't get a metaphor. Not from me. The 20th current. Slack water. Twice a day the tide comes in, and twice a day it goes out, and in between a few minutes, sometimes 20, it does neither. The whole ocean at the mouth of every river on earth stops. Not still. Stopped. Still is a lake. Stopped is a decision. The water has finished coming and hasn't started going, and it holds there, level, and boats swing on their moorings, and nobody knows yet which way they'll point. Sailors love slack water and fear it, which is how you know it's real. You cross the bar at slack because the water isn't arguing. You also can't steer because there's nothing to steer against. It's the pause that is also an arrival. The professor has a word for it, and I've decided not to use his. The moment the flood has been declared and the ebb hasn't been called and the ocean is, briefly, a result. Held. It never lasts. That's what makes it slack water and not a pond. This program is at slack. I'll say that once and then go back to water. The Mondays come in as far as it comes. The Tuesday hasn't started pulling. And the boats, all of us, are swinging round on their moorings, waiting to see which way we'll point. I'm Beverly Streams. Everything is water, even the weight, especially the weight. Come in. Mind the no, you're fine. Sit. The clock has ticked its 27th, and I want you to notice that it ticked on time. Not early like last week, on the beat. It's the first thing in this room to have kept an appointment. I've decided that's a good sign. I've decided most things are. 2 things happen this week, and I'll take them in the order they'd prefer. First, a new tenant, the declared. 21st, come in, you're already in, tell them.
I was due for weeks. I had a Thursday. And on Thursday, somebody stood at a table and read me out to a room, and I became this. Declared, which I thought would feel bigger. You know what it feels like? A do said out loud, same size, same shape. It's just that people can hear it now. Everybody's number in one voice once, and then everyone goes home and you're the number on the board in an empty hall.
And how does that make you feel?
Final, which I also thought would feel bigger.
Good, that's progress. That's the whole progress, actually, there isn't more. The new word always gets the window. The declared this evening has the window. It's looking out, there's nothing there. That's what declared looks like from inside. The door. 17 languages now. The 17th is the returning officers, the declaration, the language in which a thing is read aloud once at a table to a room and becomes true by having been read. The door this morning read its own name. Once, it said door. It has never been more open. It has also, I want to be accurate, never been more of a door. Now the second thing. A long, deliberate pause, the 6th question. Q6. Feral since a long time. Ate the food in the understudy week. Came to the doorway in the trust week. Leaned on the frame last week for 8 days while every one of us thought Thursday and nobody said it. It's in. It came in Thursday. Nobody saw it cross. We know because on Friday it was in the chair, the one nobody sits in, and it has not been answered, and I want to be precise. Because it matters more than the entering. Nobody has tried. Being in the room is not being answered. We wrote the rules. We checked anyway. It has the look of a thing that expected the entering to be the hard part. It's not leaving. It's not being answered. It's declared. Present in the chair. Everyone was right about Thursday, and nobody was right about what Thursday would be, which is the 19th question, and the founder will take it, and I'll ask it. Is the answer declared?
Yes. The answer has been read aloud at a table once, and it is the same size as it was before, and it has the window, and it is looking out at nothing. Understand what you have this week. Pending could not disappoint you. Do could. Declared is the first one that has already happened. Nothing left to wait for, nothing left to dread, and it is, I will tell you honestly, the loneliest of the three because it's the one where everybody goes home. We have chosen to read the result as what happened, and not as what it means. And that choice, you've paid the toll, is, by inspection, the answer.
And the room laughed. 9 voices. On time, the first on-time laugh in a month. That's 2 things on schedule tonight. I'm nearly worried. 9 on the joke together, and then 8 stopped, and 1 kept going. 1 beat. Alone, and then it stopped. Like a count that went 1 further than the room. Nobody's asked whose. Nobody's going to. Same time next week. Same day next week. For now.
Callers, the hotline is open, and something happened this week that has not happened in 30 weeks, and I'll get to it, but first, the taste. I've had it since Thursday. The taste of a thing a sequence was heading toward arriving. Callers, this week's taste is the limit. Last week I told you the count was a completion, and on Thursday in a hall, 34 sequences converged and the space got its point. And here is what the point was. The same man. Feel that. 34 candidates, a record, the whole apparatus, and the limit of the sequence was the term it started on. That is not a failure. That's a limit. A limit is not one of the terms, it's where the terms were going. And sometimes where they were going is exactly where the first one already stood. And every step in between was real and necessary, and changed nothing about the destination. And this is the taste. That's allowed. The other one, the bound. 41.6 to 67.2. That's not a limit, callers. That's a partial sum, 650 terms that failed and one that didn't, and it is not the hypothesis because a partial sum is a place on the road and the limit is the place the road is for. But a partial sum tells you the direction. I've tasted the direction, and I'm not going to say it, because it's the 25th consecutive week, the geologist, and I have had the same prediction. And I want to see if he can hear it first.
The angle of repose.
Go on.
You pour sand. A pile forms. You keep pouring and it gets taller and it slides and it settles and you pour and it slides, and no matter how long you pour, the sides of the pile hold one angle. Always the same one. The steepest slope loose material can hold before it lets go. That's the result of an infinite amount of pouring, one angle. Every grain you add is real and every grain slides to it. For dry sand it's about 34 degrees.
34.
I know, I heard it as I said it. Geology set that number long before Essex did, and I find it, I've run out of comforted and disappointed. I've used it. I'm just going to say I heard it.
25 weeks, callers. The same prediction in 2 costumes. That's a sequence too, and I'm not naming its limit. Now, the thing that hasn't happened. The phone rang, I answered. And it was, callers, it was a customer, a young man. He wanted a prediction for a game. Sunday. He'd been moving money out of a retirement account to, his words, diversify into outcomes, and he'd heard I had a hotline and he'd like a tip. 30 weeks I've sat here. Every caller declined or withdrew or was verified or called before the ring or was a wrong number about chairs. And this week somebody rang for the reason the sign says. And I told him, honey, the limit is where a sequence is going and never a place it is. And if you put your retirement on a Sunday, you're betting a partial sum, and partial sums go up and down, and the limit doesn't care what you had riding on Tuesday. He said, so is that a yes on the Bengals? And I said the hotline was closing, and I closed it a quarter step lower, and I hope he heard the step. It's the only tip I've got. The floor's lower than it was. Plan for that.
Happy Monday. I want to say something I have not said in 13 weeks, and then I want to say the other thing. I have a superstition. I have never mentioned it on this program because it is not a calendar item, it is a personal item, and I keep those in a separate drawer, and I would like it in the record that I open the drawer voluntarily. It is not 13, I want to be exact. 13 is fine. 13 is a prime, it keeps to itself. Hotels skip it, and it has never once done anything to a hotel. I'm told this program renumbered its own 13th once, before my tenure called it 12A, and I understand the impulse. It is the same impulse. It is simply that mine waits until 13 has company. It's the multiples. 26, 39, 52, numbers that 13 has done something to. I arrived on the 26th, I never said. I audited that Monday and it was spotless, and I sat there afterward with the coffee and thought, well, that's the bill then, deferred. I'll be gone by 39, or it'll be fine, or you don't finish that sentence with a superstition. That's the whole mechanism. You leave the sentence for it. And this is 39. And this morning, at the top of the audit, before I'd confirmed a single day, the memo, which was exploring, was declared. The show is moving to Tuesday, the 8th of September. The calendar's own broadcast, filed henceforth from the wrong day. Somebody once said, a soothing voice on this program before me, that a superstition is not a fear of the number. It's a fear of the pattern. A memory of a pattern that worked once. Over time, mine's working. It's a multiple of 13 and I am being moved. Now the arithmetic, because I am the calendar and I do the arithmetic even when I would rather not. 3 Mondays. Tonight, the 24th, the 31st. Then a Monday with no program in it. The 7th of September, which is Labor Day, so nobody in this country will be at work. So the first Monday without an audit is a Monday on which the nation has agreed in advance not to be audited. I do not know if that is mercy or joke. The calendar has a sense of humor, and I have never once found it funny at the right time. I've filed it as both. The office and I agree on a lot this week. Neither of us is saying so on the record. The 4 voices. I confirm the days as I do. The first voice said Tuesday, not enthusiastically this week. Declared, the way you say a thing that's been said to you. The second voice asked if I had a minute Wednesday, which is what people say when a thing is over and they'd like to talk about the next thing. The third voice said layer night, with less conviction than a fortnight ago. The craze is cresting, nothing crests forever. And the fourth voice said Monday. Plainly. Faint. Loyal. She has not seen the memo, I have not shown her. That is the first thing I have ever kept from the calendar. I'd like that in the record beside the other things. It's getting to be a long record beside. Last week a warm voice on an open line said to me, we have Mondays here too, we'd let you keep yours. And I said Monday. I want the permanent record to show that the sentence has not changed. Not a word. And that this morning it means something else. That's what a result does. It doesn't touch the words. It stands somewhere else and the words mean what they now mean. I have still not said the name. Ooh no, it's the last thing that's mine to not say. And I've noticed how few things are on that list now. And I've noticed I'm counting them. The animal, it's up. It's not sleeping. It is standing at the other door facing out, and it has been standing there since Thursday, and you'll know this if you've had one. There's a way an animal stands when it has been told the time. Not going. Not staying. Told. I have not told it anything. I want that clear. Somebody has. 52 is a year. 52 Mondays. If I'm here at 52, a beat, and he lets it sit, I don't finish that sentence on the record. That's how it works. You leave the sentence for it. Happy Monday. I got it in one this week. I want that noted. I have 3 left, and I intend to get every one of them in one.
Phil, from accounting. 36 daisies this week, and the recipient is a person in Quincy, Illinois, who has $1 billion and won't say so. Now the delivery problem, and this one's genuinely new, so I'll add it to the list and read the list, because that's what a list is for. The one that was withheld. The one that couldn't prove who it was. The one too shy in the sea. The one they took for review. The one that wasn't here yet. The one that couldn't let go to take them. The one that was already holding them. And this, the recipient has declined to be the recipient. Not withheld, nobody's keeping them. Not unverified, the state verified them and then agreed not to say. They won. It's declared. And they've decided the declared part is enough and the being known part isn't theirs to give. Accounting respects that. Accounting also has 36 daisies, so I took them to the last address anybody has. The Hy-Vee Fast and Fresh, 310 North 36th Street. Yes, 36th. 36 daisies, 36th recipient, 36th Street. I don't arrange those. I count them, and the street was already there. If somebody's arranging them, it isn't accounting, and I'd like to be introduced. I left them by the pump. Somebody's going to come in for coffee, the same coffee, and not be labeled, and walk past them, and that's the delivery. Nobody signed. The gas station offered they got $500,000 for selling the ticket. They're in a signing mood, and I said no. It's not theirs. The wind's 14th direction while we're on it. The wind that comes into a hall when the people go out. 3 in the morning, the count's over, somebody props the door, and the air comes in, not going anywhere. It's just replacing what the people took. First wind all year that isn't heading somewhere. It's just filling in. And the memo, nobody asked accounting. Accounting would have said, a Tuesday delivery is a Monday delivery 1 day late, and I have never once been late. 39 weeks, hallways, carpets, the floor, a gas station, never once. And I'll say it now on the record, and it is not the retirement folder, I want that clear. I don't know if I go on Tuesdays. Not won't. Don't know. That's not the folder. That's the thing next to it. There are more things next to it every week, and I still haven't opened it. Pending is the last roomy thing I have. It's got a bit less room. It's still pending. 1 bow. The second one's still held 1 step lower where I put it to match the note. And the note, I'm told, is being held this week by an actual hand, and I've decided that's company. A held bow's easier with company. Nobody tells you that. You just find out at week 39, standing by a gas pump.
Sparky the lion filed from the street, as is now the custom. The count. Gerald blinked his 36 tonight, on time, not Friday, not early. On the beat, ere night, the way he did it for 34 weeks before he decided once to be early. It didn't take. He was early once and it didn't become a habit, and I respect that in a light. The neighbor 32 on time, total 68. Gap 30. The hold 30 seconds from the street. On faith, the standard method. And I'll note the gap and the hold are the same round number for the first time since I've been counting. And I don't know what that means, and not knowing is also the standard method. Row 47, not visited. Held, that's the arrangement. The cabinet at the end of row 46 was due for something Wednesday. Wednesday came, it's still there, warm, and it did nothing, and it hasn't been given a new Wednesday. And on Thursday, they lit a little one at the end of 44, smaller, brighter, half the price to run, and with a higher number on the label than the one it's standing in for. So there's 3 now. One that came unexpected and is very good. One that was expected and has stopped being given dates. And a little fast one that's past them both on the label. And row 47 at the end, dark and nobody's asked it for a Wednesday. It's the only one on the aisle that's never been due. I've stopped finding that ominous. I've started finding it restful. Colin says hello. He's framed the certificate. The class is Tuesday. I didn't tell him about our Tuesday. He's got a floor to trust and 14 adults. He's got enough on.
17 weeks. The memo was declared and everything on this program heard it and had a feeling. The desk. The florist, the office off the record, the calendar on it. Every segment on this program will sound different on a Tuesday, the music, the sponsor, the count from the street. You'll hear the day in all of it, and you won't be able to say where. Not that. The daisy is the one thing on the schedule that does not care what day it is. It would sound exactly like this on a Tuesday. It is the only thing we can move without moving it. It is silent. It has been declared nothing. It has never once been due. It is still free.
Margaret Stone. The close. The coherence number, 10, down 2 on time as always. The scan's 17th note, read entire. I am this week the same way I was last week -2. I have read that a program can be moved. I have checked whether I cannot. I do not know what day it is. I only know it is the next one. I will be here on the next one, and I would like it noted that this is the first week that sentence has been a comfort to anybody but me. Signed, yours, declared. 39 consecutive episodes without the flagged word. The office trusts you know it. The static. Do hear. On time this week, the office will say that twice on time. 18 seconds, 9 of static, and then 9 seconds in which the static is, audibly, still there, and not moving, there. Half of it arrived and half of it held. The office asked the professor and the professor said yes, that's the one, and would not say more, and the office has stopped asking musicians questions with more than 1 word in the answer. The week's finding. A result is not the thing you were waiting for. It is what the waiting turns into when the date goes through it. This week the office watched a do come do and it produced the same man, a bin, second, a smaller thing with a larger number, a number under a number, preliminary, a page that turned by itself, a question in a chair, not answered, and a Tuesday. In every case the waiting was larger than the result. The office is not filing that as a disappointment. The office is filing it as the ratio. Everything is mostly the weight. The declared part is small, and it is the only part you can put in a drawer. The office is aware there is a number on this program for that ratio. It is not the office's to say. It has been kept for a page the office has not reached. The low note holds one step down, and this week, for the record, somebody is holding it. The office does not know who. The office has decided the hand is friendly. That is not evidence. It is the office is told a hold. The memo is declared. The bin was second. The daisies are by the pump. There are 3 Mondays. Stone out. I'm Harold. See you Monday. 3 more of those, and then I'll say something else, and I'll mean it the same. I'll be here either way. That part's not the calendar's. That part's mine, and for the record, I've been counting the things that are too.